Good morning and welcome on this beautiful day in Lewes. I am the mayor of Lewes, Amy Morosco, and it is my honor to open this ceremony. Today is a day of celebration. It's celebration of the public service of Bonnie Osler. We are so fortunate to have had her in our midst, and particularly I want to thank Brooke for coming down, and also Brooke and Bonnie's family for being here as well. It means a lot to our community. You are a connection to Bonnie for all of us. And I know, as being a widow, it gets hard. You keep going to events. I will tell you that one event, after about 6 months after my husband passed away, I finally said, he wasn't a saint, okay? I mean, and so we know she wasn't a saint. What we know is that she was an extraordinary public servant. She was a public servant that her legacy, which Dennis is going to go into more detail about this room we're in, will be remembered as part of Lewis's history. She's someone who embodied the values we want for all of our public servants. And that's what we're doing today, is honoring that part of her legacy. There's so much to honor in Bonnie, but we're focused today on public service. And when I think about Bonnie, I'm reminded of Margaret Chase Smith. I'm sure you all know, or you should know. She was the first woman to serve in both our U.S. House of Representatives and also in our U.S. Senate. And when she was asked one day, what is public service really about? And she said, it's much more than doing a job efficiently or honestly. It's about full dedication to the people you serve. That's Bonnie Osler. That's what she brought here to Lewes. So today we dedicate this room in her honor and in her memory. And in this room, in my view, in these walls and windows, this is where democracy happens. Bonnie saw that vision. She saw that this community room would be a place where we could share ideas. It's not always a room of harmony, that's for sure, but it's a room where people discuss ideas, where they challenge one another, where they disagree, but where we find a common path forward. Bonnie's legacy was about working on things today and in the future. She knew that public officials are not measured in the long run by what votes they take or what policies they bring forward. Public officials are remembered by how they build trust in their community, how they uplift the spirits, and how they secure the future by focusing on today's priorities. That's what Bonnie did. So it's my greatest wish that all that will come and sit in this room, in the Osler community room, that they will remember, whether they sit in the audience as part of the public or they sit at the table as the dais, on the dais, that what they will remember is to be inspired by her, to put their own personal views aside and make decisions and raise issues for the community at large. That is the legacy of Bonnie Osler, and that's what this room will hold going forward for Lewes. So thank you all for coming today to celebrate this amazing councilwoman and deputy mayor that served Lewes so well. With that, I'd like to turn it over to one of her colleagues and dearest friends. Dennis served on council with Bonnie, and we wanted to have him share his insights, his views, and his thoughts about how this place came to be under her vision. Thank you again for coming. I'll turn it to Dennis.
That's a tough act to follow. But it's, I guess I might read because then I'll get it right. But once again, welcome everyone. It's my amazing privilege to provide a brief history as to why we're here to dedicate this meeting room in honor of Bonnie Osler, my colleague and good friend. Bonnie was not only my friend, but a friend to and an advocate for the City of Lewes, as demonstrated by her many accomplishments during her 8 years serving on City Council from 2012 to 2020. One of those accomplishments is the reason we're here today. In May of 2016, the City of Lewes leased the former library, this building, to the then Lewes Historical Society. At that time, Bonnie had the foresight to recognize that the city had outgrown its council chambers in City Hall and needed a larger meeting room. Back then, it was not unusual for folks attending a city council meeting to be standing in the hallway, which made it very difficult to hear and to participate. She was the moving force behind the city retaining this, the east wing of the former library, to serve as a meeting room. That vision was realized with the room we are gathered in today, to recognize Bonnie and to memorialize her contribution with this dedication. Beyond that, I want to extend special thanks to the mayor, city council, city manager, and the staff for all the planning and effort that went into making this possible. Thank you for coming today. Now it's time for Joellen. You wanted to make some remarks. If you would come on up. I'm good.
Hello, everybody. So I have my cheat sheet like Dennis too. I wrote this from my heart, but my memory isn't as strong as my heart is. So Brooke, it's an honor to be here to remember Bonnie, my dear friend. I had the pleasure of serving with Bonnie on the historic Lewes Farmers Market Board. And through many conversations, we discovered shared interest over time. And that connection grew into a lasting friendship. Whenever I turned to Bonnie for advice, which was often, she always offered wise, thoughtful guidance, and I trusted it completely. Bonnie gave so much of herself to this community through her service on city council, her constant presence at city events, and her willingness to go above and beyond in everything that she did, often sacrificing her own time for the good of others, and she did it all with grace, with humor, and with an open heart. And of course, who could forget her and Brooke's wonderful annual Christmas party, when so many of us gathered to watch the parade, enjoy good food and spirits, share laughter, and kick off the holiday season together. Bonnie's spirit of generosity, friendship, and civic dedication continues to inspire me and so many others. I feel very fortunate to have known her, and she's deeply missed. And as I was preparing for this, I came across an email between myself, Bonnie, and another friend. And we were talking about Chautauqua, which is a place that my other friend and I would visit, and trying to explain it to Bonnie. And Bonnie said, for her, I'm going to quote, "I don't know how to put what Squam means to me. It's the most special place where my soul relaxes." And now her soul is relaxing in Squam. So, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up and make a comment? Tom, come on up. Oh, wait, I didn't catch in time. You're next.
It's going to be quick. So I'm Tom Panetta. I'm the president of the Lewes BPW. I first met Bonnie when I was serving on Planning Commission, and she was liaison to the Planning Commission from City Council. Her insight during the planning process was instrumental, and we'd often debate things either at my house or his house or her house. And I always respected. We didn't always agree, but I always respected her insight into what the specific issues were. We also went through a troubled time, and I'm not going to dwell on that, but at the end, we all worked it out. And I think we have the BPW and the city have a much stronger relationship. And I miss Bonnie extremely much. Her laughter, her voice, and Brooke. I mean, it's just amazing. So I think she was one of the most well-rounded people I ever met. And I really do think this is appropriate. Although actually I would have preferred something more like the Taj Mahal, but anyway. Thank you very much.
Joe Elder, City Council. We don't bring about positive change unless we have difficult conversations. That's the advice that Bonnie gave me when I had first joined council. She would call me, give me advice. I was trying to advocate for Donovan Smith, and she helped me. She called me constantly. I never met her personally, but her spirit came through to me on that telephone line. And I still thank her for helping me to have that attitude that we don't make positive change unless we have difficult conversations. So thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, anyone else like to come up? If not, then Joe Ellen, or excuse me, Ellen Lorraine, it's your turn.
Okay. So I'm Ellen Lorraine McCabe. I'm the city manager. And today we come together to honor and remember Bonnie Osler, who was a dedicated public servant. Bonnie not only was a thoughtful and sharp leader, but she was also a tireless advocate for city employees and for the long-term financial stability of the city she loved. Bonnie believed that taking care of the city meant taking care of the people who serve it. An example that comes to mind that was significant to employees was Bonnie wanted to ensure that employees left ahead of the peak holiday traffic that would be arriving to our community. This was a meaningful gesture that reflected her deep compassion and respect for city employees and for their families. She was equally devoted to securing the city's financial future. Bonnie recognized the need for professional investment management and personally authored the city's investment policy, which is a lasting contribution that continues on to this day as a guide for the city's fiscal responsibility to the community. I served under Bonnie as finance manager. I remember her as both a mentor and an advocate, someone who was tough, someone who asked the hard questions, but she did so because she cared, she knew the community needed clarity, and she did so to reinforce her commitment to do what is right and ethical. In recognition of her service, her leadership, and unwavering dedication, it is my honor today to participate in this dedication of this room at the Margaret H. Rollins Community Center in memory of Bonnie Osler. May this space, a place of discussion, decisions, and community, reflect the values Bonnie stood for: integrity, thoughtfulness, and a deep commitment to the people of Lewes. So on behalf of the employees of the city, we thank Bonnie Osler. Her legacy will continue to guide us and inspire us.
Okay, without further ado, Brooke, it's your turn.
Well, I just wanted to take just a few moments to thank everybody on behalf of Bonnie and myself for honoring her by your presence today. I won't repeat everything everybody said. There were wonderful remarks. Dennis, who we referred to as her boyfriend. And she was his girlfriend. Allison permitted that. And they spent many a time in our room over coffee, hashing out the issues of the city, which they both loved, and obviously I loved. But Dennis really captured the whole history of this room. She saw that this was no longer Al Stango's Lewes, and that the growth was coming, growth that we could not foresee, that because we couldn't control it, it was outside our borders, and that that would generate all sorts of active discussion and participation from many members of the community, and that City Hall had outgrown its clothes, even though it was still young. So that this room was so fitting, so to speak, when it became available. And she saw that and really pressed for it. And I want to thank Dennis for all his work in seeking this recognition and working with City Council to secure it. It means a lot to her. I know she's up there watching because she's telling me to hurry up and sit down. She always said I could talk to a lamppost. And so, but nothing personal to you. I mean, obviously you're not. And yesterday, I received an email from Rob Morgan, former city council member who served with her, Dennis. And he asked that I read this. And he also sent the roses that are out there. This city room was entirely due to Bonnie's foresight and perseverance. She would be proud to see it filled so often and so well. The plaque in her honor is a sweet and fitting memorial to a perceptive, hardworking colleague who cared deeply for our fellow citizens. I was privileged to serve with Bonnie for 7 years, and I esteemed her highly. So with that, I just want to close by thanking City Council for awarding this honor, to Ellen, Lorraine, and Ashley for putting this all together and this wonderful slideshow. Many of the pictures I took with the ribbon cuttings, and I can still hear her kibitzing around and me going, would you keep quiet and get serious about this? As Betsy can well remember. And I want to thank you for all the hard work for you and Ashley for putting this event together. But most of all, I want to thank the mayor who really made this possible and whose support I appreciate.
Thank you, Brooke. And I'm going to bring you back up and Dennis. So it clearly was Bonnie's vision, but it was also Dennis who came to me as mayor and said, Mayor, I have this idea. And before he finished the sentence, I said, of course. So I'm going to ask Bonnie, in memory of Bonnie, that Brooke, you come forward and Dennis, and you will take off the veil of this plaque. I'm going to read for you what's on this plaque. And then we also have an additional piece that we'd like to from council to share with you. So I don't think it has to have a countdown. I think you go. What this says is the Bonnie Osler Meeting Room, dedicated to the memory of Lois, Bonsal, Bonnie Osler. This dedication honors Bonnie Osler, who served the city of Lewes with distinction as council member and deputy mayor from 2012 to 2021. Her foresight and advocacy ensured the preservation of this space for public use, creating an accessible venue for civic engagement. With deep gratitude, the Lewes community celebrates her unwavering dedication to ethical leadership, transparent governance, and inclusive progress. And outside of this building, there will also be the sign that says this is the Osler Community Room. So with the power vested in me as mayor, we're calling this always forward this day on as the Osler Community Room. We have one other thing that we would like to share, though, with you, Brooke. So it's been the custom of mine in other elected official roles to proclaim days for people, because who doesn't want a day, right? So this is the proclamation designating October 9th as Bonnie Osler Day in the city of Lewes. And as many of you know, it's not my custom to read a full proclamation when I'm on the dais, because if not, it'd be like 30 minutes before we got into business. But this one I am reading word for word. Whereas Bonnie Osler served the city of Lewes with dedication as a member of the Lewes City Council from 2012 to 2021, including service as deputy mayor. And her legacy of integrity, civility, and public-spirited problem-solving continues to shape how Lewes governs today. Whereas during her tenure, Bonnie was a strong advocate for government transparency and civic engagement through expanded public access to meetings. Her efforts ensured the preservation and improvement of the Margaret H. Rollins Community Center. In recognition of these contributions, the city of Lewes officially renamed the community meeting space as the Bonnie Osler Meeting Room on October 9th. which will stand as a lasting reminder of her lifelong dedication to public service. And whereas Bonnie's civic engagement extended far beyond City Hall through her involvement with local nonprofits and community organizations, where she modeled servant leadership and generous spirit. And whereas Bonnie's years of service to the Lewes community have left an indelible legacy that will guide and sustain future leaders of Lewes and endure for generations to come. For that reason, it is fitting and proper that we set aside a day each year to honor and celebrate her lasting contributions. Now, therefore, it be resolved, I, Amy Morosco, Mayor of the City of Lewes, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 9th as Bonnie Osler Day in the City of Lewes and encourage all residents, organizations, and public bodies to observe this day by reflecting on her service and renewing their commitment to civic engagement. And so I want to thank you all for coming this morning. And I want to thank Ashley particularly and other staff who made this event possible, and all the extra things that they did, pardon me, to make this a special reception. I would like to ask Reverend Carlisle Gill to come up for a blessing of the room and the food that we're about to receive.
If you don't mind, I won't use the microphone. I'm hopefully still able to have my voice heard. Bonnie was a fabulous person. We all know that picture just captures the spirit and essence of this woman. Bonnie was not only a member of City Council, she was a member of St. Peter's Church here in Lewes. An active, wonderful Eucharistic minister, sermon listener, and critic. She tried to get Brooke to come. And occasionally Brooke would show up in the very last row at St. Peter's, and we were always glad to have her. Bonnie and Brooke were also friends of Carol's and mine. We played bridge together and just enjoyed her wonderful company. I believe that Bonnie has already blessed this room, and I am actually unnecessary. Her spirit has infused and suffused this place in ways that each of us knows only deeply and personally well. But on your behalf, beloved Bonnie, I want to bless this room, this space. It will carry your spirit. It will carry your dedication. It will carry the twinkle in your eye, the smile on your face, and it will carry your being, so that every time we come into this room, we will feel the presence of Bonnie. So bless this space, bless it in Bonnie's name, and bless it in the Lord God's name as well. And bless the food. Eat and have fun. It's wonderful to be with you all. Thank you for my blessing.
Again, thank you all for coming this morning, and particularly Brooke and Bonnie's family to be here as well. So enjoy the reception and the fellowship and celebrate Bonnie Osler. Fun to be at Bonnie Osler Day as well. Thank you for coming.